Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Salt Talk, where we explore how service, affirmation, love, and transformation helps us become healthier, stronger, and more faithful people. I'm your host, Jermine Alberty, and today we're talking about something every one of us needs, but many of us don't realize we're losing. And that's hope. I've been saying for some time, I believe that we are in a hope deficit. Hope isn't wishful thinking. Hope isn't pretending everything's okay. Hope isn't ignoring reality. Well, hope is choosing to believe that reality is not the final chapter. And according to decades of psychological research, hope doesn't just make life feel better. It actually helps people become healthier, happier, and more resilient. In fact, research links hope with greater perseverance, healthier relationships, improved well-being, and better physical health outcomes. Today, we're going to explore hope through the lens of psychology, through scripture, and through the SALT model. This is Jermine Alberty, and you're listening to the SALT Talk. Let's talk about hope as a necessity, not a luxury. You see, when life is going well, hope feels natural, but hope becomes essential when life hurts. When the diagnosis comes, when the marriage ends, when the ministry becomes exhausting, when depression whispers, nothing is ever going to change. Psychologist Everett Worthington writes that hopelessness develops when people can no longer imagine a desired future. And without that vision, motivation begins to disappear. And that sounds remarkably similar to Proverbs 29:18, where the writer says, where there is no vision, the people perish. You see, vision creates movement, hope creates endurance, and faith creates action. It's so important that we understand that hope is more than positive thinking, because that's one of the greatest myths, is that hopeful people ignore problems. We don't. Hopeful people simply refuse to let problems define the future. You see, research shows hope includes four important elements: a meaningful goal, belief that the goal matters, confidence that there are multiple pathways to reach it, and here's the last and most important one: persistence when obstacles appear. You see, hope says there is another way, not because life is easy, but because God is still working. Romans 5 tells us suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. Notice hope is produced, it's not purchased. It's important that we understand that there is this thing called the biology of hope. Here's something remarkable: hope changes our bodies. Research has connected hope with lower anxiety, less depression, better immune functioning, better cardiovascular health, greater resilience during illness, and even longer life expectancy. That means that your mind affects your body. This is why I love the scripture that was hinted at centuries ago, where it said that a cheerful heart is good medicine, over Proverbs 17:22. This doesn't mean hope cures disease, but what it does mean is that hope helps people keep fighting. You know, we always link our SALT model to every podcast. And so let's talk about how hope and salt go together. Because when we think about service, when we serve others, we remember our pain isn't the end of our story. Service has a way of creating purpose, and purpose has a way of fueling hope. And sometimes helping someone else reminds us that God still has work for us. When we talk about the affirmation, hopelessness speaks lies, but affirmation speaks truth. You are not your diagnosis. You're not your divorce. You're not your addiction. You're not your worst mistake. In fact, Brian Stevenson famously reminds us that each of us is more than the worst thing we've ever done. And God has always called people by their future, not merely their past. Well, the L in the SALT model is love, and love gives hope a place to grow. In fact, research consistently finds that supportive relationships strengthen resilience and well-being. Y'all need to stop staying in corners by yourself, because isolation breeds hopelessness, but connection restores hope. And that's why Hebrew tells us, encourage one another daily. Sometimes encouragement is borrowed hope. That's why I am the CEO of many people's life. I'm the Chief Encouragement Officer. T stands for transformation. Hope believes that transformation is possible. Transformation says, I'm not finished. Tell somebody, I can get up from this. Yeah, I can get up from this. Matter of fact, not only can I get up from this, I will get up from this, because hope is believing that even though I may have failed on a Friday, I can get up. I can get up. Even though I failed on a Thursday, I can get up. On a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, I can get up. I can get up, because this is not the final word. Well, let me wrap up with 4 ways to build hope. Psychologists suggest several practical habits that strengthen hope. First is build your willpower. Ask yourself this question: what do I still care about? Purpose, fuse, persistence. Number 2, find multiple pathways. Don't ask, why isn't this working? Ask, what other path can I take? Because hope is flexible. But guess what? Hopelessness gets stuck. Number 3, celebrate your small wins. Hope grows through progress, not perfection. Every answered prayer, every healthy conversation, every therapy appointment, every step matters. And number 4, find heroes of hope. Look for people who kept going. Nelson Mandela, Harriet Tubman. There's many more people we could think of who kept going despite the situation. People whose stories reminds us that impossible situations are often the birthplace of extraordinary hope. Well, today I want you to remember this. Hope isn't denying reality. Hope is refusing to let reality become your identity. Hope says, my story isn't over. God isn't finished. Healing is possible. Relationships can grow. Purpose can return. Transformation can happen. The heartbeat of SALT: we serve, we affirm, we love, we transform. And every one of those actions plants the seeds of hope. Well, let me give you a SALT challenge of the week. This week, I want you to practice becoming a hope builder. Choose one person who seems discouraged. Send a text message, make a phone call, pray with them, write a handwritten note, tell them one thing you genuinely believe about their future, and you may become the hope they were praying for. Well, in closing, thank you for joining me on the SALT Talk. If today's episode encouraged you, share it with someone who needs the reminder that hope is stronger than despair. And until next time, keep serving, keep affirming, keep loving, keep transforming, because hope grows wherever SALT is present. This is Jermine Alberty, and you've been listening to the SALT Talk.